Now, going back, for people that sort of aren't familiar with the relationship, how did you meet Brentt?
I met Brentt through some friends in Los Angeles. I had a band in LA for a while called Anna's Brother. And he was the he would come out to all the shows that we did. We really were we really were working hard at that time. This is back in the 2000s, um, to kind of come up through the LA, club scene, and we did it just as a band, not a guy or me from here or nothing, just a band. Started playing, midnight on Wednesday nights. And Brentt would come to all of our shows. He was really a great supporter. And one day at rehearsal, my drummer stepped out. Actually, the band was called Revision 6 at the time. And Brentt sat down with the kit. And he goes, what if he did this? And Brentt played for, like, I'd say 10 seconds. And everybody in the room just stopped. It was one of those moments where you just go, wow. And ever since then, I've always tried to, work on, with him. And as soon as I wanted to make this album, and I wanted to make sure that it was something excellent and really the tip top of what I could produce, I knew I wanted to work with him because we have a good, musical chemistry. So I flew to New Orleans and we started knocking it out, man.
Cool. And the Crazy video has just been released. There's been some really awesome reaction to it. How have you been finding the reaction yourself?
Wow. Wow. I'm pleased, and it's humbled hearing a couple of the comments, even this little article that they just published for Classic Rock. It's humbling. I just want to play the best I can and sing the best I can, and the comments have been really lovely. I mean, I'm really glad that it's speaking to people. I realize the song is a cover, and it's a great song in its own, in its own right and in its original form. I just did my best to reinterpret it, and I'm glad that reinterpretation is speaking to people, and it's giving them a vibe, a feeling, and that's what it's all about, man.
And you've also got a few more covers on the album. So tell people about how you chose those particular covers.
The other cover on there is The Grind, which is from a 70s guitar player named Tommy Bolin. And Tommy was in that era was kind of like the new Wonder Kid guitar player guy. He played with the James Gang. He played with Deep Purple when Blackmore left Deep Purple. And he was quite an interesting player, a fiery player, and he died very young, right after that whole thing. So this song is from Tommy. The first time I heard it, it was introduced to me by my old manager, Alan Niven, and he's got quite a reputation for picking covers for people. He picked, Once Bitten, Twice Shy for Great White. He picked the song from the Angels, I Face the Day. Both of those were hugely important for that band. And so when he spoke, when he suggested this one, my ears perked up. I first heard it, I knew that I thought this is a hit. This is a hit song. As far as I can pick one, whatever that means. And I just been holding it in my back pocket forever. So that's why we did that one. And I think we turned what was a really wonderful, prop engine plane, into a jet fighter. It's a mean track now.
Excellent. And, of course, everything's on hold at the moment. So live shows probably aren't going to be in your area for quite some time. But if you had to go out and play a show now, what would be the song off the album that you would want to play the most?
I'm sorry, brother, you cut out there a little bit. One more time.
Okay, so yeah, with playing live, if you could go and play a live show right now, pick one song off the album that's the first song you play.
Oh, we love to play. Gosh, just one. I like to play Misery. Misery it's got some mojo, that song, and it's fun to improv over. That's something I like to do when we're playing. I want to try to do something where the audience is going to see something happen, something occur that they can't get anywhere else, and hopefully we're all going to go on a little ride together. So that song's fun to do for that reason, and I just love the groove of it. So it's that one's the one.
Awesome. And I've seen some of the YouTube clips of the shows, and the band is very freeform. And I noticed that when you're playing live, you sort of flick into a Guitar Hero mode without even trying. So, people get to see a different side of you when you play live. Is that something that you like? Is that they may have one idea of who Tony is, and then they see you live and there's big notes and there's, a bit of shredding, but it's all played within the context of the song. Is that what you want them to see?
Yeah, I would say yes. I think that we have some maturing to do, and not that we're green and sour right now or anything, but I think that we have some ripening to do as a band, and I do love that aspect of it. I love for there to be moments that are just unscripted and to try to create a moment, a vibe, and to pull the audience along with us. That's exactly what I'd like to do. And I think when I say there's some maturation that needs to happen, I think that comes with headlining a headlining set and being able to insert things within our set that enable more moments like that. And there's some really great artists out there that do that. And it's not like I want a jam band or anything like that, but we do want to have some incendiary moments, and I want to bring up players. I want to bring up other guitar players and singers to get up there and for us to work off each other and to inspire each other. We were planning a short UK jaunt with Chris Buck, who's a great guitar player out of Wales, and so things like that I think are coming. Hopefully that's what we get to do when we do get to go out and play again.
Excellent. And you had Sylvia Massey mix the record. Her record speaks for itself. What do you think she added in the way of flavor to the final sound of the album?
Sylvia made me open without me knowing. She made me open my kimono. You know what I mean? Like, I sent her the tracks. We as people don't know how we make records now. We have these huge Pro Tools sessions, which are all the different instruments and all the takes, and give that to somebody like Sylvia, and she decides how to place that within that landscape, that audio landscape that you hear between your ears. And I was pretty careful about editing and deleting some things that I didn't think were useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we got the mixes back, she let all those things speak. And so there are so many parts that I had forgotten I'd even done, that all of a sudden they were there in the mix of the song. I was like, what, I don't know. It was nice to let somebody else make the decision. You know what I'm saying? If I make the decision, I'm going to be ultra, ultra, ultra critical, and maybe irrationally so. So that's what she did, and obviously, I mean, she's just got, her ears are amazing, and she made us sound so wide and lush, just so killer, man, just killer.
And you recently also re-released Tombstone Shuffle. So what do you remember when you go back and think about the time of recording that album?
I primarily remember all of my guitars that I used to own, because I made that album fresh off of my success with Great White, and I was experimenting with guitar collecting at the time, and so I had some really, really amazing pieces of had some really beautiful vintage Strats and Les Pauls, and that's kind of what I remember now. When I hear those tracks, I think, oh boy, do I miss that Les Paul, or oh boy, that Strat was something else. And I remember Gene Andrusko, who died in, I think he died in 2000. I want to say 2002. He was really great help in making that album come together. Taught me a lot. So that's what I think of that album. And there's some fun tracks on there. There's some stuff that I wish I could redo someday. But for now, it's good. We remastered it. I think it sounds better now. So yeah, it's interesting.
And with your guitars, you're playing a lot of PRSs now, aren't you?
Yes. Thanks for reminding me here. Those guys make some really amazing guitars, and I've always been a multi-instrumentalist. Play bass, obviously, play bass on this album, and I've always kind of favored Strats and Fenders, and I have a touring, group of Strats that I take out when I go out and do other kind of work. But I got turned on to the PRS guitars from a friend of mine, and the two that I purchased initially were different. One is a single cut McCarty, which is definitely much more like a Les Paul than the standard PRS Paul Reed Smith guitars. It's a thicker piece of mahogany. It's much more like a Les Paul in that regard. A lot more body mass, and I also got a hollow body one, which is akin to a Gibson 335 in that it's a hollow body, and both those guitars are amazing and figure prominently on the album. So yeah, I'm in love with those. They just built me a new hollow body too, which is just gorgeous. Sounds great, and I'm hoping to just collect some more of those guys. They're just they're beautiful instruments, and they sound great too. So you can't lose.
Excellent. So like you played gigs all over the world. You've been lucky to do some great traveling. Where's the favorite place that you played, and is there one place in the world that you haven't played that you'd love to get to?
My favorite gig that I've ever played of all time was I sat in with Slash for an Asia, Australia, New Zealand tour filling in for Todd Kearns, who had a little medical emergency. So I went out and did those shows. And I have to say that Singapore was the single most amazing show I've ever played. And I played, with Great White, and I played as a solo guy and Shadow and Thrill and all this stuff. This show was interesting. It was like playing for the rowdiest version of the United Nations. It was like every kind of person, every walk, every creed, every religion seemed to be out in that audience that night. Sikhs, Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, whatever, black, white, all races, and they were all bouncing up and down and having a great time and living together in harmony through rock and roll. And that was probably the most memorable show. I've had some great shows with Great White back in the day too. And as far as a place I'd like to play, I've been just about everywhere, and I've never played in South America. So I really would like to go and play Brazil and Argentina at some point. I think that's a big hope of ours, and it looks as though a lot of our Spotify listeners are in that part of the world. So we may get to do that this next year.
Excellent. So speaking of Spotify, the CEO has come out in the last week and said musicians need to be more prolific. What's your thoughts on his statement of that rather than paying a higher royalty?
Well, being prolific for prolific's sake, I think that's ridiculous. You gotta. It's supposed to be artful, and I'm going to, for me personally, if it's not bursting out of me, then it's, then why? Then why would I just kind of, go through the motions? So I think it's important to just create as the spirit moves you. And that's the current landscape for the current, ecosystem for musicians it's very difficult, and difficult to make money that way. So I don't know, man. I'll do my best, and if I have a run where we've got a lot of songs popping out, that'd be great. I do see us doing a lot more singles oriented releases in the future, probably, for sure.
Awesome. And we'll leave it with that one for today. Have you got any final words for everyone out there?
Just, I hope that folks enjoy what we're doing, and that I think there's, at least with that one single, Crazy, I do think it applies to the world in general at this moment in time. And I hope everybody is taking care of each other and watching out for each other, and that the craziness settles down.
Awesome, man. I'll leave you with it. You get back to enjoying your night.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Talk soon, buddy.
Yep.